From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way. From off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and we got a nice conversation to have today because position battles are going to happen all over training camp, and one of the big position battles that's going to be happening in the running back room is Raheem Mostert versus Trey Sermon. Who is going to walk out of this getting the most carries, being running back one? Alex, what are we looking at with this?
Look, every 49ers fan has their opinion on this, and you should let us know right now down in the comment section what it is. And then also subscribe if you haven't already, because you're going to get more of this great types of content and position battles leading up to training camp. For me, this position battle comes down to a few things. One is understanding of the run game and the system. And then two, diversity. Who can be the most diverse of the running backs? I think the guy that has the most potential is Raheem Mostert, because we already know the whole shot potential and how great he is in the outside zone. But you saw flashes last year of the physicality that he's starting to run with downhill, inside on the inside zones. And you've also seen the success that he has when this line is blocking at an elite level. Think back to that NFC Championship game. Yes, there were hole shot stuff on the outside and some of the outside zone plays that were big gashing runs, but some of his best runs in those NFC Championship games against the Packers were right up the gut. Yeah. When the O-line was able to get the push, get up to second level secure, and you're able to get Raheem Mostert in space one-on-one with safeties, set past second level, right, without being touched, him at full speed. That's dangerous. That's tough. And I think he's gotten better and more physical as a runner, which means he's not going to go down necessarily with some of these arm tackles. He's not going to lose his balance, get tripped up when he gets to second level like he would have back in that 2019 season. For him, it's all about health. If he's healthy, I don't know if there's a running back like him in the NFL. I don't know if there's a running back like him in this running back room that has the type of speed, the game-breaking speed that he has. That's why for me in this position battle, Mostert has the edge up over Trey Sermon, is I think he adds a dynamic that you can't really find in you can't replace Raheem Mostert's speed, his vision, his ability to get through a hole and just take a play that could be for a normal running back a 10, 15-yard gain and turn it into a 30-yard home run. Yeah. He has the ability to do that every time he touches the football. Granted, there's the concerns with him and health. So he's not going to be a guy that can carry the rock 30 times a game, 25 times a game. You're going to have to limit his carries, but that's why you have a guy like Trey Sermon. This is a traditional Kyle Shanahan 1A, 1B situation. For me, right now, in this position battle, Mostert is 1A.
I don't think you're going to see a bell cow kind of running back in Kyle Shanahan's system for the future, because I don't think that you really want to carry a guy that many times and just, kind of eat up his carries, his legs, and beat up his body going into the season. So I think there's going to be time for both of them to shine. I will say this. I think that they compare in some aspects, and in some aspects they're different, which make this an intriguing argument. When you're looking at the tape, you're looking at the speed of Raheem Mostert being elite compared to anyone else in the league at the running back position. He can do things that no one else can do, so that is a plus for him. When you look at Trey Sermon, I believe Trey Sermon actually has a little bit better vision than Raheem Mostert. There are times Raheem Mostert could cut back against the grain or misses a hole, kind of outruns it because his speed sometimes takes over, where Sermon is a more patient running back. So you got that point to Sermon. But when you're putting Raheem Mostert out there, you know that you have dynamic chances to make plays on the outside zone. He's better at the outside zone than Trey Sermon. You got the vertical run game, which they can both be successful at. So you have kind of some similar things and then some things that are different. But I think that both of them are going to come in and battle. But I think Raheem Mostert has the heads up and the advantage in this. He understands the offense. He's been in the offense. He's dynamic. Kyle Shanahan went to bat for him to get him his money last year, to make sure that he got paid what he felt he was deserved to be paid. Kyle Shanahan's not going to do that for somebody that he doesn't value as a number one running back. He's not going to pay you number one running back money unless you deserve it. He definitely deserves it, but Trey Sermon has become a nice complement to what Raheem Mostert does. This is, I think, the first time we have a excellent complement of guys. We always had guys that did things that were similar in the room, but now we have a complement of guys that do things in the room. in the same. Like you said, 1A and 1B is kind of the more realistic way to look at it. But I think that everyone in this league knows right now that Raheem Mostert's the guy you have to worry about, because on any given play, he can make you look stupid, silly, and be surfing it up in the end zone. So I think in everyone's mind, including in the 49ers organization, Raheem Mostert's one, but I think everyone thinks eventually Trey Sermon will ascend to one. And once that happens, then he'll be the guy that carries the ball the most times, and then he'll be kind of sharing some carries with Elijah Mitchell. But I think that is the inevitable journey that we're headed to. But right now, Raheem Mostert is the number one guy in the room. But I think it is going to be close, and training camp and preseason is going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And this was going to be my point to piggyback off what you just said there at the end, is Trey Sermon is the long-term 1A solution.
Yeah.
He's the long-term down the road here in a few years. He's going to be the 1A. We'll probably move on from Raheem Mostert because, number one, he'll get paid by somebody. And the speed at some point is going to decline. And once that speed goes away for Raheem Mostert, that's when his edge as a running back is going to kind of dwindle. Because like you said, the vision isn't there necessarily at the level of a Trey Sermon.
Right.
And if the eventual goal is to shift to more vertical running game, or being able to at least rely on a vertical running game, getting downhill inside, Trey Sermon's a better fit for those types of things. He's the long-term solution at running back for the next 5 to 6 years. Whereas Raheem Mostert is the here and now solidified guy in this room. And by solidified, I mean does the most things. I don't think there's a big difference between them in the pass game and the pass catching game. I think they're very similar in that aspect, in that regard. However, if you're able to scheme Raheem Mostert open in space, you've already seen what that leads to.
Yeah.
It leads to touchdowns. Ask the Arizona Cardinals, whether it's Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert. You get either one of those guys out in space, and it's a tutty. Is that the case for Trey Sermon? I don't know yet. I don't believe so. I don't believe that to be the case. But he can get open in space and make catches, make plays, and get us yards. I just don't think he's a guy that if you scheme him wide open on a little intermediate route over the middle, that he's going to take it house. I know that's the case for Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
So I think, again, big play potential. It goes in the Raheem Mostert category. Long-term sustainability in this running back room, that goes to Trey Sermon. And that's not a knock on Trey Sermon. It just means that right now, at this moment, when you have a guy like Raheem Mostert, you're going to lean and rely on him a little bit more than you are a Trey Sermon. Barring Mostert getting injured, I don't see Sermon carrying a huge load unless he just blows everyone's socks off. Right?
Yeah.
Unless we just go full inside zone and Trey Sermon is just 8 yards, 7 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards of carry, and just bullying people downhill constantly. There will probably be games where Trey Sermon's going to go off, and it's every fantasy owner's nightmare. Who do you go after in this running back room? Fantasy owners, stay away from the 49ers running back room, because on any given week it could be either one of these guys. But both guys have the potential to blow up. Raheem Mostert a little bit more, and I think that's why we both feel he's ahead of Sermon.
Yeah, and I think some people will determine who is running back one by who gets more carries. And if you're going to be doing it that way, then it's going to be Trey Sermon. But Raheem Mostert is going to get more dynamic carries. Like, those are going to be the times that he's going to be going off, and we've already seen what he can do in Green Bay. Now, with that Green Bay NFC Championship game, that was elite stuff. You don't carry the ball that many times and get that many yards unless you're an elite caliber running back in this league. The dynamics that he has to get around the outside and just, blow past people is something that can't be matched in this league. I think there's only a few running backs that even have, a glimmer of hope, of making the same sort of plays. So it is a different dynamic with both these guys. You brought up the passing game. I think Trey Sermon has great hands. I've seen him, make some great plays. But Raheem Mostert's dynamic. And you were talking, that's why I was shaking my head no, because if Sermon catches the ball, he's going to get 20 or 30 yards, if he's got a lot of open space. Raheem Mostert's taking it to the house.
No one's going to even sniff him.
No, and that's the difference. There is a difference in speed. One guy runs, over 23 miles per hour, and the other guy doesn't. And I'm not even going to try to say, but speed isn't everything. But in this case, I think it is something that's added, that's needed in this system that Kyle Shanahan relies on to open things up for everyone else. So Raheem Mostert's running back one, but I think Trey Sermon's right there behind him. And both these guys add aspects and elements to the game that you need. And it's going to be nice to watch them both succeed in this run game.
Oh, 100%. Because if there's one thing Kyle Shanahan knows how to do, it's how to take running backs and get the most out of them, squeeze every little bit out of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I'm really looking forward to see what he can squeeze out of Trey Sermon, because we all think he's already a pretty solid choice and was a solid draft pick. But man, Kyle Shanahan could turn a solid draft pick and turn it into a gold mine.
Yeah, he is. We've talked about this before. You put a good running back into Kyle Shanahan's system and they become great. If you put a great running back into this system, they become elite. So if Trey Sermon is great, like we all think, he could be an elite running back in this league. So the development working with Bobby Turner is going to be fun to watch. How much he develops this year. Could he overtake Raheem Mostert during the season? Yes, he ultimately could. I just still think that whole shot ability of Raheem Mostert is always the thing that's going to put him ahead of any running back, because not running backs that are with that kind of speed, I guess, don't grow on trees. You don't get them very often. Not to have that kind of vision. Usually if you have that guy, he goes down fast as far as he gets hit, and he goes down, where Raheem Mostert runs with physicality and runs people over, especially in 2020. So I think that Raheem Mostert also is trying to prove something. He has a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't believe he gets the respect that he deserves. You don't put out tweets that say Hall of Fame unless you are thinking you are about to go out there and just break the living crap out of things. And I think he thinks he's going to.
And listen, if he does, if I'm a 49ers fan, I want to keep him around until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
Because if he's got a chip on his shoulder and produces at the level that we know he can produce, that's game breaking. It's game breaking. It'll break all the rules, all the ideas around football, the shift towards the pass game and how important it is. If you got a guy like Raheem Mostert and Kyle Shanahan able to scheme up just ridiculous plays, sets, opportunities, situations, one-on-ones with safeties, where this guy can just blow by everybody and just put up gaudy numbers, we're gonna change the direction that football's heading. And like you said it, right? You've said it before on this podcast, being the outlier.
Yeah.
The 49ers are that.
Yes, they are.
And if you can take that and turn it on its head and just while everyone's preparing for one thing, solidify yourself as this other thing, right? As a team now, you have to pick your poison. Are you going to focus on dealing with the other 31 teams in the NFL that are all pass heavy? Or are you going to worry about the one matchup a year where you got to go up against the San Francisco 49ers in which they can run it down your throat, run it around the outside, and whenever they're ready, take the shot vertical? That's going to be a really, really tough thing to have to digest and prepare for.
It is. I mean, that is something that's completely correct. When you're preparing for spread teams and you're seeing spread all the time, you get comfortable with it. When you're seeing stuff in practice that your offense does, and you get comfortable with it. When all of a sudden you go against a team that does something different and you have to prepare for it and you're not used to it, then things start looking different. You start not trusting your eyes, and your eyes start going places they shouldn't. Next thing you know, somebody like a Raheem Mostert's right past you, and it's over. And the other thing is, let's not forget that Raheem Mostert had a very hard time in 2020 mentally, dealing with the fact that his wife he wasn't able to see his pregnant wife. He wasn't able to be around his kid. That is hard for anyone, and anyone would struggle with that situation. So I'm going to keep 2020 behind as a, not something that we think about when it comes to Raheem Mostert. That wasn't fair to him. That wasn't fair to anyone. And now with a clear mindset, with the physical traits that he has, he's going to blow up this year. He's going to have a great season. Him and Trey Sermon as a 1-2 punch. I feel sorry for everyone else. You thought that you saw thunder and lightning before. This is the real thunder and lightning. It's coming for you. The Bay Area is about to go crazy because these guys are about to be blitzkrieg out there.
And we're a year away from full Trey area action with Trey Lance in the mix and
True.
full 11-on-11 football. Exciting times. Let us know what you think about this position battle down below. Do you agree with us? Mostert right now has the edge. Sermon's just behind him, and in the future it's going to be Sermon's job. Or do you disagree completely, entirely? Mostert can't stay healthy. It's not Mostert's job. It's Sermon's job. He's going to have 200-plus carries, and Mostert's going to touch the ball a few times a game, and it is what it is. We want to hear from you. We want to have this conversation. And while you're down there commenting away, let us know what you think about this position battle. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell because we got plenty of position battles coming up all over the board, all over this team. There are so many things to watch in training camp. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, is it going to be Sermon Sundays, or is Mostert about to take it to the house and we're going to get some Mostert surfing in that Mosterati? It's going to be a lot of fun questions to talk about and a lot of cool things, but I am curious what everyone thinks because there are people that are completely on board the Trey Sermon, bandwagon and train. They're not wrong that he is a very good running back, but right now I'm still latched onto the Mosterati, and I'm okay with that.
Hey, that Mosterati is a sick, sweet-looking thing, and I'll tell you what, he's got one of the most unique celebrations in all of football. I love Mostert surfing in the Bay. I want it to be for years to come. We'll see how 2021 looks, and until next time, 49ers fans, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.